In this video, I'm going to give you step 2 on how to get your dream job, and it has to do with job descriptions. What I am about to share with you, I consider to be one of the most important lessons I have learned in my career. The main concept is this: you have the power to influence your job description. This is a huge change in perspective for most people. Most people think of their job description as handed down by their manager and etched in stone. But it's not. We are talking about getting you your dream job, and it starts with where you're at. It starts with your current job, and it's possible to take your current position and turn it in to your dream job. To understand this concept, we need to be clear about what a job description is. So job descriptions are pretty standard things nowadays. Almost every position in every company has a job description, and it's just a detailed list of the tasks that you're going to perform in that job. So when you apply for a job, you read the job description, and then when you get that job and start working, you start performing the tasks that are listed on that job description. Now, the situation that we're dealing with here is a very interesting one. We are talking about your dream job. So we're really comparing two job descriptions. We're looking at your current job description, and then we're comparing that against the job description of your dream job, the job description you want, and understanding what are the differences between those two job descriptions. And the point I want to get across to you is that you can communicate this to your boss. You can have a conversation with your boss and talk about moving some of those activities that are in your dream job into the job description of your current job. To illustrate this idea, I want to share with you another story from my career in Hollywood. So this actually didn't happen to me. This happened to a friend of mine who worked at a film company. And so this friend, he worked for the VP of sales, and this was your typical entry-level sales position, doing sales calls. And this was something that he didn't want to do for the rest of his career. What my friend actually wanted to get into was PR, which stands for public relations. Now, public relations is a specialized area of sales and marketing. If you work in PR, you are responsible for the company's image in the public. And from a practical standpoint, this means building relationships with the press, building relationships with newspaper reporters, media, thought leaders, the public, so that when something interesting is happening with your company, you can get that message out there through all of these media channels. PR is a little bit of a different approach than traditional marketing, where you might say, pay money to put up an ad to get your message out. So public relations can be a very effective way to let people know what's going on in your company and drive company sales. So my friend wanted to get into PR. But there was a problem. This company did not have a PR position. The job description just did not exist. So it wasn't like he was going to get promoted. So my friend sat back and thought. And he thought, what would a PR position look like for this company? What would be included in that job description? Well, in Hollywood, PR means you go to a lot of parties. You need to be at all the right events, you need to be networking and making those relationships, and you want to be on top of mind for people who are putting together movie deals so that they think about your company. So PR can be very effective. Now, going to parties every day may not be everybody's dream job, but for the right person, it can be a very cool job. So for my friend, he was thinking about this and he said, you know, I like going to parties, I'm good at partying, and I think that my partying skills could make the company a lot of money. Just to be clear, I'm not trying to diminish the role of PR. It's a lot more than going to parties. There's a lot of work involved. But the point I'm trying to convey is, for my friend, this was a dream job. So here's what he did. He just started building this job. He did it on his own time and on his own dime, but he started going to these networking events. He started making connections with local newspaper reporters, and he actually got the company named in several key media pieces. And so then he was able to take that to his boss and start this conversation and say, hey, look at this PR position. This could be a real asset for the company. And the thing is, it worked. The company created this position for him, gave him a raise, and made him the new manager of PR. And the crazy thing is, this all happened within the span of a year. He went from an entry-level sales position to manager of PR, his dream job, in a year. So I saw all of this happen, and I realized to myself that you have the power to influence your job description. You have ownership over what your job looks like. So a job description is a living, breathing document that is based off of conversations that you have with your boss on what your job looks like, and you have the ability to change that. I know so many people who just sit back and just do the job description that's handed to them. In fact, people pride themselves on this. And I've heard people say, I just do my job description. Nothing more, nothing less, and it keeps me out of trouble. But it's those same people who then sit and complain that their manager doesn't hand them their dream job. Well, it doesn't work like that. It is not your manager's responsibility to make your dreams come true. It is your responsibility. You need to sit down and have that conversation with your manager and tell them what it is you want to do. And then show them, back it up with proof of how this will add value to the company. Why I think this is so important to talk about is because I think this is truly a win-win situation. Because when you're doing something that you love, not only do you win, but the company wins. And the reason why I say this is because you are more productive doing things that you love. So let's think about this. Imagine you're in a job and you look at your job description, and 75% of your job description is stuff that you love to do, but 25% is things that you hate. You hate doing this 25%. So this job is almost your dream job, but not quite. Well, that 25% of things you're probably not all that productive at. You're probably creating the most value for your company from that 75%. So the goal here would be to shrink the 25% and grow the 75% of stuff that you love to do, because that is where you're generating value for the company. And here's what's really happening. When you're working on that 25% of your job that you hate, what your mind is trying to tell you is you are not good at these tasks. That's why you hate it, because you're realizing that you're wasting time here. These tasks would be more productive done by somebody else. So that's where you can start having this conversation with your boss, because who knows? There might be somebody else in your company who would love to do that 25%. And if your job description reflects where you create the most value for your company, everybody ultimately is better off. So I realize I gave a pretty extreme example in my story of somebody creating their dream job at their company out of thin air within a year. It's an extreme example, but I want to show you what is really possible. But the real idea behind this is a very simple one. All we're talking about here is communicating with your company about where you generate the most value. So at this point, when I talk about this subject, people usually come up with excuses of why they can't do this. And one common excuse is, my company couldn't possibly create a new position for me. Maybe your company doesn't have enough money to just create new manager positions. And that might be true, but you can certainly add more job duties to your current job description that is more in the area of where you want to go with your career. Another excuse that people give is that they're just afraid to talk with their boss and to speak up. But that's not what I've found. I've found that most supervisors appreciate when you come to them and talk to them about what you like about your job and what you don't like. Because the thing is, we are all in business. We are all here to make money. And so if you can legitimately show how your dream job would make the company money, most bosses would jump all over that. And in the case where a boss doesn't support you in this, maybe it's time that you start looking for a position or a job or a manager who would support where you want to go in your career. So the general theme here is that you have ownership over what your job looks like. Don't wait around for your boss. Go out and make your dream job a reality. If you're successful, you can have your dream job right at your current company. So if you've had any experience in this and influencing your job description, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'd like to hear your stories as well. Next week, we're going to talk about step 3 on how to get your dream job, and it has to do with limiting beliefs. And I think I have a unique perspective on this, so definitely come back and check out next week's video.